You are your biggest healthcare advocate. And I tell people all the time, nobody's looking out for you but you, especially in the healthcare industry. This podcast is about, it's to cut through the garbage, get out of the weeds. Let's talk about truth and fact. If you're frustrated with current healthcare, you're skeptical with traditional medicine, you think, hey, your traditional doctor, your regular GP or nurse practitioner is not really treating you the right way, I think this podcast is for you. Welcome to The Trusted Pharmacist, where you'll learn the truth about how the body works. First episode of The Trusted Pharmacist. I'm Dr. Steve Hoffart, a traditionally trained pharmacist, and I'm really glad you're here to learn the truth about how the body works. I went to pharmacy school about 30 years ago and got a traditional bachelor's degree. Love doing what I do, love learning about medications. Went back to school and got a doctor of pharmacy degree. Actually had a 4.0 in pharmacy school. So I feel like I'm pretty well trained in understanding traditional medicine, how it works, disease states, how the body works, the biochemistry, all the ins and outs. But more importantly, on my journey to learn really about healthcare and what I've seen, and we'll talk about that in a second, I've really learned that it's really not so much about healthcare, and it's more about personalized care and making sure that you do what's best and learn what you can to make sure that your health is the best that it can be. Because once you don't have your health, I can tell you I've seen many millionaires and billionaires wish that their money could buy good health, and it doesn't. So once you lose it, it's not something you can easily get back. And really, that's what this podcast is about. It's to teach you the latest science and the truth about what we're learning about the body and how it works, and how it's not really, we don't have to give up traditional medicines. There is a place for them. But how to intertwine that in not only with your traditional meds, supplements, lifestyle, and those type things. I had a tremendous mentor early on in my career that taught me about how the body works and understanding that inflammation is the driver of much of disease. So you'll hear that a lot in the podcast. But more importantly, he taught me that we have to look at the whole body and look at what drives disease processes and attack those one-on-one. We can't take and silo out the body and look at each individual system. We have to take a root cause effect. And that's the part that I want to tell you is that healthcare right now is really kind of broken. And I really want to shed the truth and the light on how to take and allow you to go about making yourself healthier and better. So the thing is, keep in mind, when I was in pharmacy school, every doctor that's currently in medical school, we weren't really taught how to look at the whole body. We were taught systems. And we were taught to look at symptoms. And then we were taught to say, hey, you've got this symptom, here's the drug that you need. But I can tell you as a pharmacist that's been doing functional medicine or personalized medicine for a while, you've got to look at the total body. And if you don't do that, you're going to miss a lot. And more importantly, what I've seen with this model is that we fix one system and we break another. Or we fix two systems and we break two systems. The next thing you know, you go from being on no medications to one medication that causes a side effect that now you have to take a second medication. And then when you're in your 30s and your 40s and your 50s, you're on 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 medications. And that's a broken system. And really my goal actually as a pharmacist is to, when you can, get you off all your medications and rely on diet, lifestyle science, and supplements to help you achieve your best health. And the thing that I've learned is that traditional medicine's reactive. We aren't proactive. And I've heard it said a lot of times, it's not really healthcare, it's more sick care. Traditional medicine is reactive and not proactive. It's really more like sick care and not healthcare. We need to take and be more proactive in terms of preventing disease and not letting it get farther down the line versus totally breaking, and then we can't go back and fix things. And this is just the models that I was taught in pharmacy school and what's taught in medical school today. And doctors are really trained more to run a bunch of tests, diagnose, put you on a medication and say, hey, why don't you come see me in 3 months? And it's not a knock there. The problem is that the system is broken. In addition, the insurance model is broken also. It's set up so that you have to follow certain protocols, follow certain type of formularies to make sure that if you have a disease, you have to be on certain medications. And I'll use, for example, like statins. If you have high cholesterol, your doctor's pretty much required to put you on a statin whether he believes in it or not, because that's what the insurance tells him. And sadly, that's not the way medicine should be practiced. As a pharmacist, we deal with our own end of insurance, and that's called a PBM. PBMs have pretty much made it where my degree and my education are useless. They just want me to put pills in a bottle, and honestly, they don't even pay me for that any day. They don't even pay me for the cost of the drug, much less my education and my expertise to help you better understand how medications work, side effects, how to take them, drug nutrient depletions, and PBMs have destroyed my ability to be a great pharmacist to you because they don't even think that I'm important. They would rather just send you to their own affiliated pharmacies and cut me out, which doesn't really work really well if you've understood how you've had to get something from a mail order pharmacy in recent years. There's just no service. There's no personalized approach. And that's where things have gone wrong. Insurance on the medical side and the pharmacy side have really just broke the system. And at this point, it's time for a pharmacist like myself to look at ways that we can take all the background knowledge about how the body works, but also put together all the latest science, details, and new studies that show these are the things you can do to really change your health in a positive way that have nothing to do with medications and get your health back the way that you want it. And if that's what you're shooting for, this podcast is for you. It's the biggest thing you do every day, whether you realize it or not, is what you put in your body. And that happens to go most importantly with the food. That's what's at the end of your fork, and that's what you do 2-3 times a day. But not only supplements, body care products, all of the environment you live in, these things get in our body and our body reacts in a certain way. And sadly, on the food side, the food industry right now is really kind of out of balance, which is actually nice to see in the news because it's come to a head. The food industry has been hijacked by big corporations that have made it where food is pretty much irresistible. The food cravings are uncontrollable. And unfortunately, if you're eating processed foods on a daily basis, you have no chance to be successful. It's kind of crazy to think that thousands of years ago, Hippocrates said, food is thy medicine. And I can honestly say as a pharmacist, if there's any one thing that I've worked with patients that's made the biggest health differences for them and their life and their overall success down the road, it is what you eat and what you put in your body. But it also goes for supplements. So it's not only quality food, but it's also quality supplements. Because unfortunately, I hate to say the way modern agriculture is, the way meat is raised nowadays, our protein sources from cattle to chicken to fish, all of these type of foods are so inflammatory, high caloric, high glycemic, and provide little to no nutritional value. And if you think you can eat your way into proper vitamins and minerals, I think you might be quite surprised. I work with patients every day that quote unquote think they're eating healthy. But when we run the blood work and look at labs, we see that's not true. And then I'm like, I've been doing all the right things. I've been eating fruits and vegetables and doing all this stuff. But it's not so much about that. You really got to take a deeper dive. You've got to read closer labels. You've got to understand the nutrition facts, understand macros. That's like protein, carbohydrates, and fat. But understand the micros, the vitamins and the nutrients, and making sure you're replacing them properly. And sadly, in a traditional doctor visit nowadays, doctors don't have hours to spend on nutrition. I talk to doctors all the time and they tell me, this is the number one thing I struggle with. I want my patients to eat better. I just don't have time in a 15-minute visit to cover all this. And that's what we're going to talk about is the ways and little things you can do to make a difference in terms of your diet and those type things. And more importantly, the way I see it is as a compounding pharmacist, understanding all of those principles, we have the ability to tailor vitamins and supplements, compounded medications to be able to make a difference in your life, to set a personalized approach in bringing you overall the best health that you can be in. Like I've said before, being a pharmacist puts me in a really unique position to help patients in a unique way, actually. We've learned about all the medications in pharmacy school. And actually, after pharmacy school, I actually went to an anti-aging functional group called A4M and got a fellowship training. And what it did, it helped me take a better, deeper dive into looking at how the body works, but more in a systems approach. I went through a fellowship, took a board exam, and since then, I've continued to go to conferences and learn the latest information about functional medicine and how it affects the body. I started Magnolia Pharmacy 22 years ago. And to be honest with you, my initial slogan was treating patients with more than medicine. But since then, we've kind of changed our motto a little bit. And the way I see it is we create healthy relationships with compassionate care and personalized medicine. And this personalized medicine approach for me is honestly why I started this podcast. I really want you to learn so that you can make a difference to make a positive impact on your health. The idea for this podcast come out of my day-to-day interactions with patients. I just see patients coming in, being frustrated, been to 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 doctors on 12 medications, just really struggling actually just to get out of bed in the morning to make a difference in their daily lives. I see people struggling with hormone issues, cardiovascular disease, cancers, diabetes, weight loss issues. And what I've learned is that it's really not that complicated for people who want to make a difference. Now, a lot of times people have to get to a point, it's like, enough's enough. I'm ready to make change. And I can tell you that's the type of stuff that we're going to talk about on this podcast. Things you can do every day. They're little things, but I always say it's like 1 + 1 = 3, plus 1 more equals 6. And these little changes can add up to give you the total healthcare you need, help get you off all of these medications that you're on, tweak a couple supplements to make a difference, and help you get a better health. And you might say, Steve, does this stuff really works? In working with patients for 20 years, I can tell you where other things have failed. Yes, the positive impact that I've seen with patients by bringing them truth, facts, studies, my own experience, what I've learned in pharmacy school and fellowship wellness training can have a tremendous impact on your overall health and help you flip that switch in terms of letting the body stop being sick, but allowing the body to start healing itself and making a big difference. So if you're looking to control your health, get rid of all the information, cut through all the garbage, make a positive impact on how you feel on a daily basis, and not have to keep taking a bunch of pills, that I think you're going to find this podcast something that you're not really going to want to miss. So what are you expecting in future podcasts? Healthcare industry, I would say right now, is in a crisis. I butt heads personally with doctors every day that think what they're saying is right, but many times the information that they have is outdated. I can ask them, hey, show me a study where what you're saying is true, and then I hear crickets or silence. They don't ever get back with me. Healthcare is changing rapidly. It's changing quickly. And you need to be armed with the latest information and the best knowledge that you can have to be able to work to take care of your health. It's very polarized right now. Everybody has an opinion, but I think this is what this podcast is about. It's to cut through the garbage, get out of the weeds. Let's talk about truth and facts. And there's much great new information out that can actually help you make better decisions about healthcare. And that's what we're going to do in this podcast. We're going to cut through all the garbage, not take sides, look at truths, and bring those to you on a regular basis and topics that you really want to make a difference so that you can have the best health that you can have. I've been thinking, who's the ideal audience for this podcast? If you're frustrated with current healthcare, you're skeptical with traditional medicine, you think, hey, your traditional doctor, your regular GP or nurse practitioner is not really treating you the right way, I think this podcast is for you. I can tell you in working with patients, the best patients that I think will get the most out of this podcast are definitely women over 40, because we're going to talk a lot about hormones and that effect. Those that live with a lot of stress and you think that stress is wrecking your health, this podcast is definitely for you. Are you insulin resistant? Are you diabetic? Are you struggling with weight loss issues? I can promise you, you're going to get lots of nuggets that are going to make a big difference in terms of actually helping reduce your blood sugars, helping get that better under control, and actually helping you lose weight. The other thing that I would say is if you're looking for overall wellness, you're just trying, let's say you're healthy now, you've got a good regimen, but you're trying to take your overall health to the next level. That's the other thing I think the audience that will gain the most out of these podcasts and the nuggets that you're going to pick up to help you get better health and make a difference overall and making sure that you stay healthy longer. So in coming episodes, you're going to see me take deep dives into topics, but more importantly, I'm going to bring on expert doctors, pharmacists, and other health experts to help share their knowledge. And I can't wait to learn from them just like you. More importantly, we want to take a deep dive into looking at things like medications, supplements, wellness strategies that you can do to make a big difference. So I can say if you suffer with hormone imbalances, mental health issues in terms of like brain fog, confusion, mood issues, you have gut issues, you don't know what supplement to take because there's just so much out there about somebody promoting this supplement over the next or what's better, quality supplements. These are the things we're going to take a deeper dive in so that you have better control to control your health in the future and better understand how you can make a difference moving forward. Time for me is my most valuable resource. So if I'm going to listen to a podcast, I need tools and information that are going to make a positive impact on my health. And that's what the Trusted Pharmacist is all about. We're going to be short, we're going to be concise, but we're going to bring you data that can make a difference and help with a personalized approach to help you improve your overall health and make a difference not only for you, but for your family, for your community, and those around you. If you're ready to take back your own health and stop relying on the broken system, you're in the right place. In the coming episodes, I've got great topics and expert guests that I know you're going to enjoy and you're not going to want to miss. So until next time, I'm Steve Hoffart, the Trusted Pharmacist, and those that want better health, listen and subscribe to this podcast. See you next time.